Welcome to 48 South 7th Street, where we're going to be talking to some hotel workers who are looking to have a fair way in which they can improve the working conditions at their workplace. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Thanks. So, so tell me, what are some of the issues that have gotten you involved in this campaign?
Okay. I'm working at Hyatt Santa Clara. I'm working at room service for 13 years. Before, it was Westin. When Hyatt take care of the business, they reduced my wage. They cut my wage from $13.50 to $8.50. Then they changed my job classification. They changed my shift. So I had to stop putting money in my 401k because I can't afford anymore. Then I have 2 jobs. I work pretty much 80 hours a day. I have no days off. Sometimes I have one in 1 month or something like that. But when I have a day off, I don't know what to do because I'm so tired, so I cannot even go to places around my house or around my community. I don't have the chance to know anything or visit some parks or Great America or go to the movies or something. So I need to have that money to send to my family in Mexico, pay for the scholarship, pay for the house, pay for the food, paying for the books, for everything. They need to have a good career in Mexico. So
you're doing it
it's
for
very hard for me.
So in other words, you're working here and you're raising some money for your family.
Yes.
And you worked, was it under the Westin?
It was Westin 10 years ago, yeah.
Okay, and what were you doing for Westin?
Same job.
What was that?
Yeah, room service.
Okay.
Room service.
So you're doing room service and you're making 13 something an hour? Then what happened?
Then they got to $8.50 for no reason. They just changed my job classification, even if I do the same job.
How did it come about that you decided to form a union?
Because we want a fair process. That means we want a card check agreement to choose if we want or not to have a union.
Okay.
So that helps us a lot.
And what do you think a union is going to be able to do for you?
Well, we want to have a better way of life, to have some time to spend with us, to have some money extra to make savings. Because right now I have to use my credit card to pay all my bills, pay my car, my insurance.
Right.
So that's all I have to do. I don't want to do it, but I have to. I have no choice to use my credit card. All my debt is growing up, but I still have no choice.
So you hope that the union's going to come in and try and address those things?
We hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you foresee them doing that?
We are talking to the community. We have a lot of support for the community, the churches, the politicians, students. So we have a lot of support. Before we were a little bit afraid to talk about these things, but not anymore because we have a lot of support.
That's great.
So we feel more confident now.
That's great. And at your workplace, what's the general attitude right now?
Since the beginning, all the management tried to scare us, pointing some things to us, telling us like, if the union came in, you're gonna lose your job. If the union comes in, you have to pay higher rates for your health insurance, or you have to pay for your wife, for your kids, probably you lose your job. So I can't do anything because the union is gonna tie my hands, so I have to ask them what to do.
Right.
So, and they were talking about favors, some favors they make to us. I don't know what they were talking about, which favors we're talking about. So
you're saying that when you and your coworkers started to talk about the union, the management actually came out and started to talk about what the union might or might not do?
Before we went public. So,
I see.
So they tried to scare all the workers to not to support the union.
Did they suspect that the workers wanted to form a union?
No, maybe not. Maybe they don't expect that, but when they see it, they were also scared, and they make meetings with everybody.
Interesting.
And try to not to support the union.
Wow. So, a lot of intimidation tactics.
A lot of intimidation, yeah.
I see. And
they write up the people. They cut the hours. So they say the economy is very bad, so they cut hours to everybody. They also laid off some positions. But the business is not that bad, so they just are using it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think that they targeted anybody for union activism?
Some of the members of the committee, yeah.
The committee.
Including me. They gave me a final warning just because I asked some questions, and they say, oh, that's insubordination. They give me a final write-up. So if I do anything, they're just gonna fire me. That's what they do.
Right.
Scare people.
I see. And so you said that there was a committee.
We have a committee.
And
still very strong.
Tell me about the committee. What is that?
Oh, we are a group of co-workers. So we coordinate and we give information to our co-workers about the campaign, about the things we are doing in order to gain the fair process. We campaign in the TV, radios, or churches. We try to talk to the community to inform them, educate them what's going on inside the hotel, because many people don't know what's behind the hotel.
Right. So you're going out there and you're talking to the community. How is the community receiving you?
They are receiving us very well. They're showing us a lot of support. They make rallies with us. They also delegate with us. They support in every way.
Delegate with you?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
When we have to do some petitions to our general manager, they go with us and they talk to the manager and deliver the letter or the petition with us.
So you mean the community actually come to your workplace with you? Wow,
yeah,
that's
and
great.
they rally with us also.
I see. Yeah. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, they are very supportive.
And so you were talking earlier about healthcare and some of the intimidation tactics that management use. It sounds like you pay a lot for healthcare.
There's a lot of money to pay, so it's not affordable. For me, I pay only by myself, but some people cannot afford to pay for the whole family. So they choose the cheapest plan, but the cheapest plan doesn't cover anything.
So the employer offers some plans now. And so how do you think you're going to, when you form a union, how do you think that's going to improve the current healthcare benefit situation?
The healthcare benefits are much better and much cheaper. Much cheaper. If in my case, I don't pay anything.
Once you form a union?
Yeah, I don't have to pay anything for myself. It's $17.50 for two persons and $35 for the whole family.
Right.
So that's very affordable.
Are your coworkers looking at some of the other hotels that have unions?
Yeah. Because we have the support also from other hotels with union. They also go in and campaign with us. Right. Because they know the difference between being a union or not union.
And what are some of those differences?
That is, the healthcare is one of those, but there's many more. But the first one is the healthcare. And
are the wages better in the unionized hotels?
Pretty much, yeah. But the big benefit is the healthcare.
Healthcare is the main benefit.
Yeah. And the respect of the managers, because right now they are very unrespectful, very mean, very rude, and no respect. There's no respect. So healthcare and respect. And respect for the managers. Yeah, we need that. It sounds like those are the kinds of banners that we can expect to see at your next rally. Yeah. And I hope you and your coworkers are successful in your efforts at getting a card check. Thank you so much. You've been struggling for how long for this? 2 years already. 3 years. Two years. 2 years. So 2 years of struggle. Yeah, every day, struggling, and we don't want to stop until we will. That's for sure. Well, it sounds like the community is supporting you. It sounds very much, yeah. That's why we feel stronger. Yeah, great. Yeah. And it sounds like you have you're asking for justice. Yes, that's what we want. And a better quality of life. So I wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us. Thank you for interviewing me and use your program. Thank you. Great. Yeah, have a great day. You too. Thank you. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about the hotel workers that you're helping to organize at the Hyatt. I'm happy to be here. Great. So tell us about some of the reasons why the workers have started this campaign in the first place. Well, when we started working and talking with workers at the Hyatt in Santa Clara 2-3 years ago, there was a lot of problems in the hotel. Rigoberto explained some of the issues in room service and in food and beverage departments, but talking with people in the housekeeping department as well, room attendants who clean the rooms were cleaning 18 to 20 rooms a day. Which is it's an excessive number of rooms to clean. In unionized hotels here in San Jose, Silicon Valley area, room attendants typically clean 14
to 11 rooms a day, depending on the number of checkouts and occupied rooms. And so Hyatt was asking workers to do a lot more rooms for extra money, and the result was that the room attendants had a lot of pain and a lot of injuries in their bodies. And so when we started talking with people from across the hotel, in different departments, they each had issues that they could point to that were, really distressing about the work and also how it impacted their life at home.
So it sounds like at some point these issues began to become quite pervasive. Did these workers approach you?
Yes. Rigoberto mentioned that a lot of people have two jobs. And that's typical in the San Jose area in the hotel industry. And so there's a lot of Local 19 members that also work at the Hyatt. At the Hyatt in Santa Clara. And so there was actually a campaign to organize a union, form a union in the mid-'80s when the hotel was first built. And that campaign was not successful. But a lot of those same workers that worked at the hotel in the 80s are still there and still had a desire to be able to have a fair process to be able to win the union.
So how are you educating the workers about what the union alternative is about?
Well, actually, people are familiar with the union through other union members. And so as a big part of our campaign at the Hyatt Santa Clara are hotel workers that are union members, whether it's from downtown San Jose or the Hilton in Santa Clara, being able to share their own experiences. And so when a Hyatt worker who does not have a union can talk with a Hilton San Jose worker who does have a union, they're able to share their experiences and learn that, as a union member, workers pay a lot less for health care, have less workloads, and are able to resolve issues with management a lot more easily.
That sounds really good. It sounds like the issues and the attitudes about the union are already there, and you're working to foster those issues. So why haven't you been successful in the campaign?
Well, fighting a company like Hyatt, which is a global multinational company, the owners is a family called the Pritzker family from Chicago. They're a billionaire family. In order to win a campaign against such a large company, it takes a comprehensive campaign. And so the Hyatt workers in Santa Clara are actually being able to fight for a fair process, not alone, but with other Hyatt workers across the country. There's actually 5 non-union campaigns at Hyatts across the country. And so Santa Clara Hyatt workers have been able to meet with Hyatt workers from San Antonio, from Long Beach, from Indianapolis, and Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. And they're able to support one another in their campaign for a fair process. At the same time, they're able to join with unionized Hyatt workers around the country. So one of the committee leaders recently went to Vancouver to be able to meet with unionized Hyatt workers in Vancouver who are currently negotiating their contract in a way to build support and solidarity among union and non-union workers that all work for Hyatt. And here locally in the community, in our community in Silicon Valley, folks like Rigoberto and other members of the worker committee have been able to connect with community members, with church members, with people of the faith community, with politicians, with union members as well, to be able to build a whole movement to really put the necessary pressure on Hyatt to be able to agree to a fair process to allow the workers to decide whether or not they want a union free of management, intimidation, and coercion.
This sounds like a huge effort. Has the employer fought back at all?
Yes. The company from the very beginning has begun a campaign to discourage workers from not even from wanting to have a union, but to participating in the campaign. And so there's a lot of support within the Hyatt workers to be able to have a safe way to talk about whether or not they want a union, but many people are very scared. They feel as if, they're privately supportive and they're publicly quiet because the company has made it clear that when you stand up for the campaign, you will be targeted by management, whether with a discipline or in other ways. At the same time, the company has done a tactic which is common where they've tried to resolve a lot of the issues. And so, people have experienced big wage increases over the last couple years, as well as the rooms. When we started organizing, people were cleaning 18 or more rooms. Now room attendants are cleaning 16 or less. And so the company has tried to resolve a lot of these issues. And workers are very smart, and they are continuing to be supportive. But the company tries to make people less angry, less willing to fight.
Well, at least you're getting those value-added victories for the people who are supporting the union so far.
Absolutely. None of this would have happened if the workers weren't continuing to put pressure on the company around their issues.
Right. Complacency wouldn't have worked.
No.
No. So it sounded like you had a national campaign, and you've involved a lot of organizations. How about here in this community? Have you involved any of the church groups that we might know about, or any of the immigrant solidarity groups?
Absolutely. There's an organization called Rising Together, which has formed from different community organizations as a way to build solidarity around the hotel worker rising movement. And so as part of that, we've been able to build coalitions with folks in the immigrant rights community, in the peace and justice community, in the interfaith and faith community, as well as affordable housing, students, youth organizing. So it's been a very successful way to really build real coalition around not just the hotel workers campaign, but around all the issues that are affecting our community.
So the people who are in these other community organizations, why are they compelled to be part of your worker organizing campaign? It sounds like that's a fairly narrow and specific area of issues that might pertain only to the Hyatt workers. What would compel them to support you?
Well, actually, all of our issues are interrelated. So when we talk about immigration, for example, most of the workers in the hotel industry in Silicon Valley are immigrants from around the world, whether it's from Latin America or Asia or different places in the world. And so when we talk about fighting for immigrant rights, those are issues that are important to hotel workers. So when we talk about fighting for hotel worker rights, we're also talking about fighting for immigrant rights. Those issues of justice affect people in all of our communities, and hotel workers are part of all of our communities. When we talk about fighting for LGBT issues, hotel workers are part of the LGBT community. We had a hearing a year ago about discrimination that was happening at Hyatt around transgender and LGBT issues. When we talk, there's a hotel worker who spoke at an anti-war rally because her son is part of the armed forces, and she cares about peace as well. So hotel workers are a part of all of our community, and it's exciting to see the work that our coalition building has done, because hotel workers not only are taking more leadership in their workplaces, but also in community organizations and in the community as a whole.
That's great. It sounds like a lot of those issues would touch upon the lives of other people. Are there ways that people can get involved in your campaign who don't work at Hyatt?
Absolutely. We have a lot of actions that we do. Most recently, we had an action on July 22nd, which was a national action around the country with 15 cities participating, taking action against Hyatt.
There's an organization that fights for the rights of immigrants, and many of the workers here, many of us here are immigrants, and that's what we're doing here today, fighting for justice, fighting for dignity, and fighting for a better wage, a better living condition. And so today is a great day to voice our demands and say that we want a fair process for a union. And so let's give an applause to ourselves.
And we'll have an upcoming action on Labor Day, which I believe is September 6th, at the Hyatt in the morning. So there's constantly ways where people from the community can come and stand, in solidarity with Hyatt workers and with folks in the hotel industry.
So in brief, what are your top 3 goals for this campaign?
The top goal is for workers to be able to have a fair process, free of employer intimidation, in a neutral environment, to discuss amongst themselves about whether or not they want to choose the union. And secondly, the thing that moves me the most is seeing folks like Rigoberto and other people that work in the hotel really take ownership and take leadership for themselves to be able to improve their own lives. And so, you know, people have been speaking around the country as well as in our community and really showing that they are going to fight for what's right for themselves and their families.
That's great. So it sounds like you had a hearing on discrimination at the workplace. What are some of the other issues that the workers are facing as a result of their efforts to form a union?
Well, management has done a lot of things to target union supporters. So, you know, the managers, especially when workers first went public with their desire to have a fair process to choose the union, there was different incidents where management in housekeeping would take people one-on-one and behind a closed door say, you know, if you signed a card, you could get fired. In a large public meeting, the general manager of the hotel singled out a worker and different workers in front of 80, 100 people as part of a mandatory meeting, calling on her saying, did you support the union? Did you sign to support the union? And she turned red. She didn't say yes, she didn't say no, but her own body language gave her away. And after that, the management really targeted her to withdraw her support, to be able to not feel confident standing up. And it takes one example like that to spread throughout the hotel to really, chill whatever, movement and courage the workers are beginning to create amongst themselves.
Those sound like really petty tactics. It sounds like management's worried that you're actually making an impact.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. And as we escalate the campaign this year within different national actions and locally at the Hyatt in Santa Clara, management gets very worried. And so you see, they end up mailing home different letters, different mailers, at least once a week to workers. They begin to spread different rumors. And you see, people get very nervous. It becomes a very tense place to go to work. Mm. And management really tries to control the message inside.
Yeah, Rigoberto talked a lot about respect. He also talked a lot about health care. You said some things about the alternative, the union alternative, about health care benefits. Can you speak a little bit more about the health care and the impact that you might have for employees like Rigoberto?
Well, there's a lot of experiences of workers in the hotel where Lorena is one of our committee members, and she recently lost her house. And during that time, it was a very stressful time, and she, covers her family on her health care. And it was getting to the point where she had to either decide about paying her mortgage or paying for her health care. And she had one of the higher quality health cares, which meant that she was paying up to $300 a month to be able to have quality health care for her family. But she made the decision to change plans. In order of spending $300 a month, she decided to spend less than $100 a month to be able to keep some form of health care, but it ends up that the quality is very, very low. And so she has diabetes, she has asthma, she has to end up paying $1,000 a month just for her medication.
Wow, $1,000 a month.
So many people have to choose between having, very poor quality health care or having quality health care where people pay $300 up to $400 a month. And many people just can't afford that. And so either they have their kids on public assistance or they have some of the cheapest plans.
Well, it sounds like healthcare and justice are the issues of the campaign, and it sounds like you're making an impact because management are certainly resorting to desperate measures to intimidate the workers at the hotel. You talked a little bit about engagement of the community. If I were interested in getting involved in your campaign, is there a website or some way that I could get in contact with you?
Hotel Workers Rising /Silicon Valley.
On Facebook. Everybody has Facebook who has access to the internet. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for speaking with us about your campaign. It sounds like you're on the move, and it sounds like you're almost there. I hope that management will recognize your efforts and give you a voluntary card check so these workers can have a choice.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.